Riven joins the team, testing loyalty and resolve. Kael and Lyra feel the tension as Thorne and Seraphine watch. Alaric's minions lurk nearby. Subscribe to Turmoil Studio to follow the adventure. The valley lay in the soft aftermath of the King's Call, a fragile dawn breaking over jagged peaks and scarred earth. Where the fires of yesterday's turmoil had ebbed, dew clung to ash and stone alike. A quiet hum lingered, not from the wind, but from the latent power that now threaded through the land. Kael stood with his sword planted firmly, the dual essence of lightning and fire simmering faintly along the blade. Beside him, Lyra flexed her fingers, knocking an arrow and then pausing, letting instinct guide her. Riven's gauntlets glimmered faintly as he watched the horizon, calculating, always calculating. The first to approach was Seraphine, her robes brushing the cracked stone, a halo of soothing light radiating from her hands. She knelt beside the young warriors, brushing soot from Kael's armor and applying subtle healing energy to Riven's scorched gauntlets. "Your wounds are small, but your hearts carry weight," she murmured. "Healers mend flesh, but we must also mend doubt." Thorne's presence followed, dual blades strapped across his back. His gaze swept across the valley like a predator scanning the field, every detail stored, measured, and analyzed. "Your formations are inconsistent," he said, "but not irredeemable. Observe, adapt, execute. That is the rhythm of survival." Kael's brow furrowed. "We've survived before. Why now?" "Because this is not survival alone," Thorne replied, drawing one blade and spinning it to catch the light. "This is trial. The eclipse watches, and our enemies will test every flaw." From the distant ridges, faint movement shimmered. Shadows coalesced like smoke given form. Selene's dual blades glinted as she moved, her steps precise, measured, lethal. Ignis appeared beside her, fists flaring in molten heat, the ground searing beneath him. "Let them test us," Riven muttered, sparks dancing along his gauntlets. "We are no longer alone in the fight." A sudden tremor shook the valley. The 12 guardians emerged like living nightmares, Alaric's stone gauntlets raised. Thalassa's water glaive whirling, Caelum's blade tracing arcs against the wind, Lysandra's twin light blades casting long reflections. The horizon burned, with the combined menace of strategy, magic, and raw force. Above them, the sky itself twisted. Orion descended with the grace of a predatory hawk, staff in hand, observing both sides. Vaynar's presence followed, unseen but felt, whispering through the corruption that bent the land itself. The faint light of Eryndor pulsed in the valley's center, tethering the hero's attention. The first clash erupted not as an attack, but as a test. Kael led the charge, blades singing with controlled fire and lightning, meeting Alaric's stone gauntlets with sparks that lit the ash at their feet. Lyra's arrows flew in arcs that split and reformed midair, dodging water strikes from Thalassa, while catching the faintest reflection from Lysandra's twin swords, whom daughters of same ancient house. Seraphine moved between them, her staff radiating a soft barrier, softening the impact of every collision, allowing the young warriors to anticipate rather than react. Thorne's blades danced in precision, each step positioning Kael, Lyra, and Riven for maximum efficiency. Ignis hurled himself into the fray, his fists blazing, but Seraphine's calm aura softened each strike, forcing him to learn restraint. "Control," she murmured, "or destruction will teach the lesson you cannot unlearn." Selene's blades cut shadows across the battlefield, striking at weak points, not out of malice, but for observation. Every strike tested the hero's unity. Every feint assessed their perception. Riven's fists sparked with energy, lashing at Caelum's illusions, each strike dissipating as if hitting air. "Why do you hide behind riddles?" he demanded. Caelum's lips curved faintly. "Because true understanding is earned, not seized." The Lord of Heroes appeared briefly above the fray, arms outstretched, gaze fixed on the developing chaos. "Learn from each other," His voice boomed, not in command, but as guidance. Every strike, every defense, every hesitation is a lesson waiting to be understood. Above, Orion's staff clashed against a summoning strike from Vanar, halting the corruption midair. Lightning forked from Kaelin's sword, lightning that Riven instinctively channeled, uniting elemental energy in a single, resonant surge. Kael, Lyra, and Riven began moving as one. Kael deflected blows aimed at Lyra, who returned precision shots with light-tinged arrows. Riven's gauntlets crackled as he channeled energy into calculated strikes, protecting openings and creating opportunities for counterattack. The child, Eryndor, flickered at the heart of the valley. A soft pulse of light emanated from the fading crystal, harmonizing with the rhythm of the hero's coordinated efforts. Even Seraphine's protective aura glimmered brighter as the group functioned as a singular unit. But the trials were not over. Selene's dual blades struck Kael with precision, pushing him back. "Do you trust them, hero?" she taunted. "Or are you still learning to trust yourself?" Kael's voice was firm. "I trust them enough to stand with them, always." A roar echoed from the distance. Ignis slammed his fists into the ground, molten cracks spreading outward. Riven moved to intercept, Seraphine's barrier flaring between them. Every movement was choreographed chaos, a test of harmony over brute strength. From the air, Caelum's illusions split reality, creating phantom doubles of each hero. Kael swung through one. Lyra shot at another. Riven redirected elemental energy to dispel the mirage. Each obstacle revealed another layer of necessity: trust, timing, awareness. Vanar's obsidian tendrils emerged again, reshaping the terrain into shifting platforms. Thorne's dual blades slashed through the environment, redirecting energy and guiding the hero's positioning. "Adapt or falter," he whispered, eyes scanning every subtle shift. The battle raged, yet each clash no longer felt chaotic. The young heroes began to anticipate, to respond as a unit rather than as individuals. Seraphine's light and Thorne's strategy intertwined with Kael, Lyra, and Riven's actions, forming a living choreography of defense, attack, and counter. Thalassa appeared in the middle of chaos. Orion observed silently, the faintest hint of approval in his gaze. Vanar's presence remained menacing, but even he paused, recognizing that the test had shifted. This was no longer a trial of raw power, it was a trial of unity. As dusk fell, the tide slowed. Selene withdrew to a ridge, evaluating rather than striking. Ignis exhaled, flames dimming as exhaustion gave way to reflection. Caelum receded into the fog, his illusions dispersing into nothingness. The 12 guardians regrouped, their movements precise but cautious, acknowledging the coordination now displayed. The valley settled, the wind carrying whispers of distant mountains and forests alike. The child pulsed warmly, faintly illuminating the heroes' faces, reflecting hope yet tempered with the knowledge of future trials. Kael sheathed his sword, sweat mixing with ash. Lyra's bow lowered slowly. Riven's gauntlets dimmed their crackle as he regarded the team. Seraphine's aura softened to a gentle glow, and Thorne's eyes scanned the horizon one last time. "We survived," Kael murmured, though the weight of the lesson lingered. "More than survived," Seraphine replied. "You've begun to understand unity." Riven cracked a faint smile. "Then perhaps the next trial will not break us." Thorne nodded once. "Perhaps, but understand this. Caelum and Vanar have only just begun. Every shadow ahead tests more than strength. It tests conviction, trust, and clarity of purpose. Far above, unseen by mortal eyes, the Lord of Heroes, Orion, and Caelum observe the valley anew. "They advance," Orion said, staff faintly glowing. "They endure," Caelum replied, expression unreadable. "But for how long?" The Lord of Heroes lifted his gaze to the horizon. the rising eclipse casting long shadows across the land. They are ready to learn. Let the trials begin, and with a ripple of golden light, they vanished. Below, the heroes looked to each other. The bond forged in the fire of shared trials now solidified. The path ahead was treacherous, the eclipse looming ever closer. Yet together, they stood ready to face the darkness that awaited.